Well, I think the team title is the personal highlight. It's just something, the Eastern team title is something that's really hard for a team like Harvard to win. And when you're competing with teams like Penn and Cornell and Lehigh, who have been very strong and tend to have a deeper roster than we do, and inevitably, over the years I was there, some injuries would set us back, and we needed some things to fall our way to be able to win the team title. Lehigh's 197-pounder was hurt at the tournament, and we just wrestled a little better than our seeds, and some of the other teams fell off, and we had a chance to get that team title, which is something that is going to be very hard to do in the foreseeable future, given how tough some of the teams in the league are now. Individually, I had a pretty strong season, but the real highlight was the team title.
It's something that we always talked about winning an EIWA title, but going into the tournament, it wasn't the focus. Obviously, it was focusing on doing your job, taking care of business in your matches and seeing what happens. I really didn't think we had a shot until the right around the consolation semi-round and the scores were announced, and it was pretty clear we had a good shot at bringing it home. And then going through there, watching everybody take care of business on their own side, and all of a sudden we're right in position to win, and it was a pretty amazing feeling.
I think the thing that I remember best about that was just how we all kind of came together at the end of the year with injuries, but being able to fight through the injuries. Probably the best example for that is Max Odom, who fought through a shoulder injury, ended up coming back through the wrestlebacks, and we ultimately won because of who came back through the wrestlebacks. We had everybody doing everything they could to keep fighting throughout the tournament. Despite having some guys lose in the winners bracket, we picked up a lot of team points, and ultimately we won the tournament. I think everybody was surprised that we won it. Definitely the other teams were surprised, but we as well. We always felt that we could do it, but seeing that it happened, I think, was pretty impressive.
That particular year, we had a lot of extremely talented individuals that all came together as a team, and I think that really we won the tournament in the wrestlebacks, and the guys were fighting hard for extra points when they'd already lost in the championship round, and that's a sign of dedication, and it shows really the constitution of your wrestlers when they come back and fight so hard, not for their own glory, but for to help the team advance. And that was a special year, obviously, that hasn't been replicated again for us.
I think there was a lot of things. There was obviously the coaching, Granit, Jay Wise, everybody seemed to come together on the coaching end. But we also had great captains in Matt Pekarsik and Francis Volpe. We also had a great team atmosphere. Everybody was there for everybody else. I think it really lent itself to having a productive year.
Yeah, I mean, Jay always was very consistent with his teaching with the wrestlers. He always believed that we could do more than we thought we were, even that we were capable of doing. He always was pushing us. He always wanted us to think that we were, capable of doing great things. And, he didn't always have, the best blue chip athletes coming out of high school. He would always, he'd get kind of a lot of guys that placed third, fifth, in the States that were fighters, but not necessarily, 4-time, 5-time state champs, things like that, like Jesse Jansen's. He didn't get a bunch of those. So for us to kind of come together, we had to have a consistent message from him, which I think he was able to do. Obviously, Granit Terrapin had a huge influence on me, on a lot of the wrestlers in terms of our defense. We had Dustin D'Annunzio, who was always kind of, always the example of what Harvard produced in terms of two-time All-American. And, they came together. It was a nice mold of good messages coming out of Jay, great technique and good defense coming out of Granit, and then Dustin just with the encouragement and also being an example of someone who did accomplish what we all wanted to accomplish.
I think the team camaraderie that we had there, It was, just everybody on the team. I love everybody on the team. I'm happy to see them no matter where I go. I don't think there's anybody on the team or anybody that, didn't get along on the team. I thought it was, a great, team atmosphere again. And it comes from the coaches and the captains kept it all together with the team meetings and everything like that. And I think it was, we saw the crystal ball at the end, and we all worked towards that. Even though we were the dark horses going into the tournament, we were able to all wrestle to, better than our seeds. I think every single person on the team wrestled better than their seed in the tournament, which was extremely promising.
On a regular basis, one of the things that are here this weekend that I haven't seen in 10 years that we wrestled, that when I made our team so unique, I think, looking back, is that there's guys that are here this weekend that I haven't seen in 10 years that we wrestled, that when I graduated with them, I haven't seen them since then. And I think kind of just on that same theme of what we talked about before with the camaraderie and, whether it's a funny situation or whatever, I think the fact that we're so close, and even to this day, so many of the guys that, I don't keep in touch with, maybe with some of the guys on a regular basis, that we saw each other this weekend, and right away, like a lot of the old thoughts, memories, matches, things all come back, and it's like you don't even skip a beat. And I always think of it as the people who you're closest with, your best friends, you can go a long time without talking to them and seeing them, and it's like you never missed a day, and those are the friendships and the things that are never, you're never going to be able to replace any of those with anything. And I think that's one of the things that made our team so good, was that we had so much fun all the time on and off the mat, which is why the camaraderie was so strong, which is, I think, ultimately why we were so successful. And Jay was, the one who kind of brought us all together. I think Maddie and I, kind of had our part on an individual basis with some of the guys, but a lot of the way I was because of the way that Jay kind of led me to be. So
it was pretty awesome, actually. We had such a tight-knit team in 2001 that our captains were awesome. We had probably 15, 20 guys in between their drive down from Boston to Philadelphia. I had my mom's minivan, and then we rented another van, and we stuffed everybody in and drove down to Philadelphia. So I think there was a huge storm. Everybody knew it was coming. We had to stay through the finals, and it all got over around like 10 o'clock at night. Everybody stayed through the ceremony, and then we drove home through a lot of snow. It probably took 15 hours.
I mean, I don't think there's a better place to be involved with in the world than Harvard, and I'm very involved still. I was very involved when I was a wrestler, very involved as a coach, very involved as an alum, and the people there are special, in my opinion. Not, they're driven. They all have, special things that they do really well, even outside of sports. And when you couple that with the fact that they're excellent athletes, you get for a pretty and a very amazing dynamic, and I think it attracts people, not just myself, but a lot of people to remain very involved with the program because of the unique qualities of the wrestlers on the team.